another episode of From Right to Red. My name is Craig, and I'm here with Paul.
Oh yeah, that's me. I'm here too. I'm Paul.
Paul got really excited because we have a guest. We had our friend hop on with us here today, Kendal Mallette.
Ooh, he nailed it. First try.
Yes.
There it is.
Yes.
How's it going,
Right.
everybody? You all don't have a fandom name, so I'm just going to go with Chat. How's Chat doing today?
We don't have a fandom name. You're right. We need to get a cool fandom name.
Yeah, I don't know if you've been workshopping anything, but in my opinion, Chat is the funniest because it's universal. Like, it's inclusive. It's got the right DEI parameters.
Yeah, because anybody can be a chatter.
Yeah, anybody could be a chatter. You know what I'm saying?
From the most unhinged to the most normie. And,
as if there's anyone who's listening to this who's normie, besides me, probably.
That's true. Actually, I was going to make a meme before we came on the show that was like me standing at, that meme template where it's like a dude standing at a crossroads and there's like two castles. There's like the good castle and the evil castle.
Yeah.
Right. It was going to be me. And then the evil castle was like all my parapolitics, like psycho CIA, Charles Manson, nothing ever happens type stuff. I was going to represent that some way. And then the other crossroad was like Kendall being like, no, dog, Taylor Swift's a human being.
Oh man.
Yeah, just like barely bringing me back across the line of psychosis. So,
and I think that for Chat to understand why I'm here, I think that's going to be the best encapsulation of why I'm here is to make this podcast a little bit more palatable for people who go outside.
Yeah.
Hey man, I was just outside like 3 days ago.
Like 3 days ago, which is the most one can handle in any like time period, about 72 hours, and then your battery's recharged for that.
I was actually, you go ahead, you're gonna laugh at this, but I actually was outside today for like an hour doing grounding, where you're just barefoot in the dirt, like, which people don't do enough. And yeah, go ahead, look at me like I'm insane. I think it's cool. I like being outside.
It's different than sounding. I think that's something different.
But if you do both at the same time,
yeah.
which we know you did. Like, you were just naked from the waist down outside, like your front lawn.
Yeah, 24/7. I am edging and sounding.
So we're off to a very normal start. That's good.
This is great. We're already doing
yeah, it's going to be a super serious episode.
See, this is how it happens, Kendall. And before you know it, okay, you're literally reading 16 different books about serial killers and how all of their dads work for the CIA.
All of their dads, exactly, who weren't really present in their lives, only enough to do the CIA's bidding.
Yeah, of course. I was gonna do like a little bit of an olive branch to you, and I was gonna go over some just kind of normal Twitter discourse. I know you saw, Kendall, because I know you're on Twitter, the NFT Nick guy, the this is who you're trading against guy. Did you see that?
Oh, the really ugly fucking dude on the boat.
Yeah.
And what's funny about that is, so I saw that, and one of the top things that popped on my timeline was, bro, no one said, because he took a second video where he was like flexing like a $500 bottle.
I was gonna play it for Paul.
And somebody was like, no one said you're broke, just you're ugly.
Right, dude. All right, so
is
Paul,
that what you just tried showing me?
Yeah, I showed you. He's been going off still. He just posted another one like an hour ago.
Like,
this is still a live crash out. I love it.
Yeah,
no.
I thought you'd appreciate this, Kendall, because it's somebody that's like we talked about, like celebrities that post through it, which is awesome.
Yeah, and there's a right way and a wrong way, and I'm sure he's doing the wrong way, for sure.
And the best part about him is like he wasn't a celebrity; he's just like some rich
not at all
dweeb. But now his 15 minutes of fame are just the posting through it part, which is great.
Bro, my favorite, the other one before you pull it up, because I think my timeline's going to be a little different than yours, because like, for full disclosure, Chad, I am an African American, so my lived experiences here are different than everybody else on this podcast. But
Dude, we didn't do. Oh shit, we didn't do a land acknowledgement.
Oh man.
This is my reparations. Actually, is I get to take over two straight white dudes podcast for about 2 hours. One of the tweets was because the original one with him on the boat with his circle jerk brigade straight jerking it. He was like, you guys are like rich on a boat in Miami with no bitches. This is the most swagless thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, so to bring Paul up to speed, because Paul hadn't seen it, there was this tweet this dude put out, and he looked like an absolute goblin on a boat. And it was just like 3 other like just swagless white guys behind him and no bitches, which is hilarious. And everybody was just roasting him. And so he started just like doing these video responses. I'm going to show you the first one here.
Yo, cheers to all the Twitter haters who said I don't own my Miami house. I'll have you know I had the staff load up my jet so I could fly out here to my New York City penthouse pied-à-terre. Anyways, while you're click-clacking on Twitter from your mom's basement, I'll be sitting here sipping from my $5,000 bottle of champagne. Remember, choose rich.
So, narrator note that the autistic people on Twitter found out that the bottle that he's holding there is like $80, not
I can go buy that at the gas station right now.
And I'm not convinced that guy isn't autistic.
Well, I don't know what's worse, those Ray-Bans specifically, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or like the level of insecurity that is the voice crack at the beginning of your Twitter flexing video.
It's so good, dude. Everything about it is just so horrible.
And also the use of the phrase click-clacking.
Yes. I feel like I blacked out a little bit. I didn't even hear him say that, and I'm kind of glad.
While you in your mom's basement click-clacking, I'm calling my mom and telling her that they're not real people, they're just Twitter trolls. It's gonna be okay.
Stop crying.
To me, he just looks like someone who's kind of barely holding it together, and he's saying this stuff as much to convince us as himself of like everything's fine because I have money.
Yeah, definitely.
Like it's great, guys.
That's a miserable person for sure.
Like he looks like he's faking it so hard and he's just barely hanging on.
Yo, shout out to the Twitter people praying for my downfall while saying my champagne ain't real. Keep questioning my life while you crying to your TV dinner, and my chauffeur brings me to $3,000 high tea service at Baccarat. Choose rich.
I don't think he pronounced a single word right in that entire little snippet there.
He's super insufferable. I thought this was going to be a good idea, but now every time I play him, I just feel him sucking all of the energy out of my body.
There's just, I don't know. There's just a level of it. I'm not convinced he means what he's saying. Like,
I think the people on the boat now, Craig, you haven't shown the boat picture yet, but I don't know if you are. But when you look at who's on the boat, it all makes so much sense because only people who look like that would hang out with each other.
Yes, that's very true. I don't have the picture of the boat.
And what's crazy is like most times, like, you know, because as Chad, in case you forgot, I'm an African American. I see this a lot with like rappers doing this, right? They usually will post like money and like guns and drugs and strippers to like prove like, no, like I haven't fallen off, like I still got it. How have we not seen a single woman in a video yet? Because I feel like that was the crux of it.
That's like, the complaint.
Yeah. Like, where is all of the women, bro?
There's just something wrong with that dude's face, man.
So you see he's in his car, right? And he's supposedly a chauffeur.
That shit like an Uber.
Well, the funny part is, again, the fine folks on Twitter, they like enhanced the reflection in his sunglasses and saw that like the dude's got like the dude driving is all casual, closed out. It's very obviously like an Uber or Lyft.
You think it was an Uber, like Uber Black, at least maybe?
I mean, he's clearly got money, but I think like.
Is it clear, Craig?
he's he's clearly got enough money to spend $20 more on a black. You know?
Yeah, okay, all right. Yeah, sure.
Good morning, haters. Yo, so y'all trying to say that my chauffeur is an Uber driver? Y'all keep hating while I kick off my week screening Scarface from my private movie theater in my New York City pied-à-terre. Remember, choose rich.
He's, I got to give it to him. He's going hard on the branding.
As a guy who spends a lot of time looking at displays,
TV too high?
TV definitely too high. All right. I don't know what fucking seating arrangement that was. That was one of the worst popcorn machines I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And how more viciously unaware could you be than to be playing Scarface in this like clip of yours?
Right.
Like, we're at a new level of unhinged. Like, it's not even. It's like, and it's one of those things where it's like, I like Craig, you talked about. I'm totally down for like tweeting through it, right? Like, sure, but we got to be a little bit better than this. I feel like.
I think. I think the exception. The problem is not the problem. The problem with this is every other celebrity that I've seen tweet through it, like 9 times out of 10. They're pretty good. Like they'll like, they'll pop off on people. And even if it's just not like very substantive, it at least gets you going. This guy, like you said, the main complaint here is you got no swag. And he just like cannot post a video with a woman anywhere near him. There's that's going to be a real problem for him.
And this is where we get back to does he have the money or not? Because if he did, he could very easily pay a woman to be in the video with him. This is not like
true.
This is not like a difficult thing to do anymore. So
I wonder whose New York City pied-à-terre he's renting.
Just so you know exactly where he's at.
Yeah.
I also like
at least he has enough money to get an Airbnb. We know that much. Like
that's
true.
And I also like that he was like, haters saying my champagne bottle is fake, and then instead of just like showing off like a fancy like bottle collection, he just moves past it.
Yeah. Oh, you think that bottle is fake? It's not. Anyways.
Yeah, it's not because I'm watching a movie.
Right, exactly.
I got Scarface. That's why
This is someone watching Scarface in a home theater that might not even be his own. Clearly,
with Ray-Bans on.
Yeah. Well, like, does he ever take them off for any of the videos?
I also feel like you could.
His eyes are puffy from crying, so absolutely not.
I don't think a guy with his head shape and features can pull off any type of lens shape that has that finish on it, that's iridescent. But I don't think anybody in the world can pull off aviators with that finish. So
it's such it's a pile of terrible choices on top of each other.
Yeah, it's not good. All right, well, that was my little Twitter random story that I wanted to bring up.
Thank you for your olive branch before we get into the deep state shit. Right. I appreciate it.
Now, let's talk about how many times each of us has been targeted by the CIA heart attack gun. Well, that's fun shit. I saw Biden put out a beautiful remark for Ramadan today. I don't know if you guys saw that. Which is very touching, like pleading for help in Gaza while bombing the fuck out of Gaza.
I was wondering how long you were gonna keep like pretending like it's cool. Yeah, like it's cool to bomb them, and then after like throw a little food at them from the sky, kill like 6 people by throwing that food at them, and then being like, "Look, we saved them."
That was actually my favorite part of the Gaza airdrop story was the fact that one of the parachutes didn't open and it fucking killed some people. That was great.
Yeah.
Dude.
And meanwhile, there's still everyday kids starving to death. So,
question:
like, who are we saving then?
Question: If you are receiving a humanitarian aid food drop, and it kills you on the way down. Is that a skill issue?
Or is that like a sign from God?
I don't think it's a skill issue.
Because this
I'm going to be upfront.
Okay.
Yeah, like what you think they're supposed to just catch that shit?
I think terminal velocity in real life is a lot different than in a video game.
No, but I'm just saying, like, you're looking up and you're like, so you see the other ones land and you're like, oh, that was like kind of gentle. It was like and you like look up and this one seems to be moving a little quickly. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Well, yeah, it would have landed first. And before you saw any other ones land, that was what already killed you.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you might be right that it is a skill issue because I have problem when people like just like lightly bop a baseball towards me. Like, trying to triangulate how to catch that is very difficult for me. So you might be right.
Yeah.
You might be suffering from the same kind of lack of
It's
baseball
literally
skills.
the exact same problem.
It's the exact same issue for sure. Oh, I love that. No, we opened Rafagate too. I don't know if you saw that. Rafagate was opened for not for aid. That would have been cool. But instead, they're bringing in construction materials for the United States so that we can build that pier, the temporary, which is eventually going to just end up being a joint Israeli-American military base inside Gaza that just controls their port, which is pretty cool. I love that.
It'll just be their port.
Based.
It's super based and super cool.
This is their way of building their own port, like at someone else's land.
That's all it is.
And then they're able to be like, look, we're the nice guys.
Yep.
Well, I think if history has shown anything, is that we are consistently the nice guys. Guys, don't Google really anything America's done.
Yeah.
Ever.
Like,
Just
keep
trust me.
believing everyone in Panama was like 100% on board with the canal from the start. Like,
Definitely.
Yeah, of course.
yeah, it's just they were thankful for everything and loved
Please
America.
completely bifurcate
That's how
our
it
country.
went. Yeah, that's totally how it all went.
Even the native people here, they were totally down with what we had going on.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Chat, don't forget I'm black. What everyone else had going on.
Yeah. Hey, actually, Jamie, can you pull that up? Can you pull up the calipers, Jamie? And
Jamie, can you pull up the Nina that fits in the Santa Maria, please?
yeah. Can you pull Jamie? Can you pull up Kendall's genealogy report?
Yeah, I was not there.
Do you have access to Kendall's 23andMe? Yeah, Jamie, just pull up his 23andMe real quick.
Yeah.
Let's prove this.
I think everything like has changed for me as far as Israel and Palestine go. I used to be like a two-state solution guy back in the day. And then I was kind of like a one-state solution type of person. So I think there should just be one, I thought there should just be one free Palestinian Israeli state with full democratic rights for everybody involved. I'm now against that, and I'm also against ceasefires. I don't think there should be a ceasefire in Gaza at all.
What?
I think instead what we should do is an immediate ground invasion of Israel.
All right.
Yeah,
You got me now.
No ceasefire until Israel is no longer there. We got to get rid of this nasty administration that's doing all these horrendous crimes.
I just wish that was an option.
I know.
I personally think that, and I like where your head's at.
Yeah.
I think the best way to solve it is usually a couple of rounds of Call of Duty. You know what I'm saying? Like if I feel like we do like a best of 7. They get their best 4. The Palestinians, Israel gets their best 4 Call of Duty players, right? We just settle this on like Terminal S&D. That's a very no one in chat's gonna get that joke but me. But that's
Kendall, I gotta ask, in that situation when you have like the top 4 best Israeli players of Call of Duty versus the top 4 best Palestinian players of Call of Duty, in that situation, when somebody says like, oh, he's gonna say the gamer word, which word are they talking about specifically?
Jesus, come on.
Because I think it's a cultural difference, than here in the United States.
Well, because it's like
where the gamer word is clearly defined.
Well, I think that here's the problem for me. This is a gap in knowledge on my part. I'm not up to date on my Middle Eastern regional slurs.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I got you covered.
So please. And now Craig is going to introduce us to all the fucked up things they say about each other.
You ever see the Animaniacs where they sing every single country in the United States? Have you ever seen that song by Animaniacs?
Every country in the United States.
Every country in the world. I'm sorry. Have you ever seen that Animaniacs song? Oh, okay. Well, never mind.
I thought this was going to be like an imperialism joke. I thought that's
the joke was going to be a cut to me singing that song, but it's just me doing 178 different slurs. And there's
So okay. I have
that's what we're
a question
looking
for you two. This is a little bit more rooted in what this show is supposed to be about, I guess. But
reel us in, man.
Yeah, right, exactly. So a part of the Twitter.com discourse, especially recently, that now that a lot of Democratic politicians are being protested against, Biden, who was doing something, and like some pro-Palestinian protesters popped up and said some shit and all those things like that. And a lot of the response that I saw was the fact that a lot of people are like, oh, like, I don't take this seriously because I never see these protesters at like a Trump rally doing anything, right? Like they're only targeting like allegedly left-leaning politicians with these like protests, and they're not actually targeting like conservatives or Republicans. And this makes this whole thing feels like not I don't necessarily want to use the word sham, but it's like there's the outrage here is like not actually what you guys are pretending it to be about. This is more so like I think one dude did accuse it of being like an op of some sort. Don't know which organization you want to attach it to, but it was an op of some sort. So I wonder what your guys' thoughts on that.
I'm ready to roll. I don't know about you,
because
Paul. You can go ahead.
I have a long answer. I have a short answer.
Give us the long one, man.
Like,
Give us whatever.
I mean, even to start with like the short answer of like in reality of like a normal person's mind, I think it's partly that they expect that from the right and not from the left. So that's who they're holding accountable, because those are the people they expect to be doing those things. And they kind of don't expect the right to even listen to that anyway. And these are the ones that they were kind of relying on to be like, I thought you were the side that would care. So I think that's that part of it. And then there's also the conspiracy shit of like, no, this is all like set up and planned, which there's always going to be some people doing shady shit in every movement, like trying to infiltrate or whatever, make it something else. Like, I'm sure that's always happening everywhere.
So yeah,
to a small scale and a large scale sometimes, but
to address
in this one, I think that's my big thing is people expect the left to care. And right now, someone who is supposed to be on the left is president and not acting how people on the left want them to act. They don't expect the right to have a different opinion than that, but they expect it from the left. So that's who they're yelling at.
To address the right off the gate, the op accusation, I'm convinced at this point that any gathering in the United States that involves more than 100 people has at least one FBI agent involved.
Yeah, like there's always people trying to get involved.
So is it an op? I mean, I guess that depends on your definition. There's definitely an FBI agent in there for sure. That's a guarantee. But as far as like the efficacy and the strategy, when it comes to like the electoral perspective and Trump versus Biden, the answer to this is really obvious, and it's real. And I hate the discourse on this because it's just so. It shows just like how deeply unserious our country is about actual political movements, right? So the answer is there is no amount of protest from a constituent or a cohort of people that are not ever going to vote for you that will make you change your behavior, right? So if I'm Donald Trump and there is a a cohort of even if it's literally half the country that are protesting me every single place that I go to, and they're all Biden supporters, and they're all in that cohort that will never vote for me, I'm not going to change anything that I'm doing because I'm never going to get their vote. And that's like the mechanics of how electoralism works in our country, right? So, but there is a chance that we can get a behavioral change from Democrats, especially Democrats in 2024, as opposed to Democrats in the year 2000, when there was no members of the DSA involved in the Democratic Party. There was no organized left whatsoever. You got to understand, in 2020 and even in 2000 or in 2004, rather, way back then, there was absolutely nothing. You couldn't even tell people you were a socialist or a communist, for that matter. It was so fringe and ridiculous. And now we have people that consider themselves socialists, consider themselves communists, and consider themselves a part of the base of the Democratic Party, for better or worse. I think there should be a different party that represents this ideology. But right now, that's what we have. And so the only person that they could ever be trying to protest in order to change their behavior would be the Democratic Party. It's just that simple. There is no chance a bunch of blue-haired communists protesting a Trump rally are going to get him to do anything other than dunk on them, which would be sweet to see. So I actually kind of enjoy, when Trump has some bangers in the crowd. So that would be cool.
Right. If only he would have just went into comedy.
Yeah. But that's
I wouldn't have to hate him. I could just laugh at him.
No, it makes sense. I think that, and I think that going to Paul's point, where it's the expectation of the people we're talking about, right? And I think that's kind of when we talk about general electoralism or normal conversations when we're talking about issues with the way that the left does politics versus the right does politics, in the sense of the fact that the left has expectation. Yeah. We definitely spend more time spend a significantly more time criticizing the actions of the people who are supposed to represent this side than the right does. But I do think that I understand Craig, to your point, if it's going to be a waste of time, at least we can maybe get somebody who is in the theory supposed to be leaning that way anyway, to maybe lean into it a little bit better.
Exactly.
I do also the idea of a bunch of blue-haired communists showing up to a Trump rally sounds fucking hilarious, though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. It sounds super funny, because the most that ever happens is that you have some guy in a pea coat with a microphone walking up to the trashiest Trump supporter he can find and being
"That's the worst.
Can you name me a black person?"
Right. We haven't had an episode since Aaron Bushnell self-immolated, and I saw a lot of.
That's a very big shift in emotion there, Craig.
I know. I'm trying to keep chat.
Yeah, you're laughing a second ago. Let's talk about this.
Now you're thinking about a man burning alive and screaming. So how does that feel?
Some of you thought it was funny. Don't lie, Chad. I see you. You watched the video and giggled. I see you.
They're freaks out there, guys. What can you do?
The only part I laughed at was the dumbass police officer drawing his weapon at this man. That was the part I laughed at.
I don't think I've seen anything
great
so
representation of our fucking cops.
100%. What do the police do if not threaten to or go carry out with shooting people for reasons?
That's just their existence, is the threat of violence, of if you do what we don't want you to, we can enact violence upon you.
All right, look, I'm going to say this, but I need to do a giant disclaimer. Okay. So
that Kendall is an African American. I think we already.
That's first of all. I need to bring that up again. It's been 5 minutes. So That's number one. Kendal is an African American gentleman.
Yeah, don't forget, Chad.
Yeah, don't forget. And so I think personally that the self-immolation was a heroic act, a brave act, an amazing act. But just for a second, think about how funny it would have been if that video included that police officer just getting a couple pops in. Just a couple.
Oh my God.
Pop, 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 pop. Just a couple, like after he collapsed, you know. So
yeah, I was gonna say
already,
it can't be till after he like falls to the ground.
Yeah, he's on the ground and he's like, you know, he's coming right for me.
I do want to say here real quick as we're giving disclaimers.
That story sadly exists from years ago too. So,
does it really?
Like that exact story, the man was going to do self-immolation and a cop shot him first because he was a threat.
I can't believe I just made up the most ridiculous thing that could have possibly happened. And
yeah, no, that actually happened. I read a story on that exact thing because they were mad because the cop got put on paid leave for a little bit, then became a sergeant. So pretty lit. Yes. All you gotta do is kill the right people.
Wait, did the guy actually self-immolate though before he got the shots off?
No, he shot him before he could.
He successfully stopped it by eliminating the
another job well done.
Yeah, so he eliminated the threat, and instead of us seeing that as like him murdering someone, they were like, "Promote this son of a bitch, man."
That's awesome.
I want to say because I'm gonna have people who know me personally are probably going to listen to this who do not normally engage with this type of content while we're giving disclaimers.
Yeah,
I fully 100% disagree with Craig on his stance on this event. We have talked about it before. I do not think it's based. Please don't set yourself on fire for your
not
beliefs.
advocating for anybody to set themselves on fire.
Right. It wasn't a good idea when he did it. It wasn't a good idea when the cop heroically stopped the other guy from doing it.
Heroically.
Right?
Is that a Blue Lives Matter flag behind you?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Kendal, we know that your argument is wrong because you're on the same side as the cops right now.
Oh man.
I'm just saying you got to think about our boys in blue, but that's not the point, right? Right. The point, okay, again, disclaimer. No, don't know. We defund the police. That's fine. I just want to make sure we get that out there. Right. But please, chat. I know some of you have been thinking about it, including Craig. Yeah. There's other ways in life to get your point across without being heroically stopped by a police officer before you do something dangerous. Thank you.
There is. I just think it's important for people to see that and understand that, like, that is the point that brought this person who was in service of our Air Force, like, where he felt that was the only option of, like, no one will listen, no one will do anything. Maybe they'll see this and pay attention. Like, why is it allowed to get so bad that someone feels that's the only option left?
Right.
It shouldn't be allowed to get to that point where people feel that way.
Because the FBI agent they were in contact with told them.
Jesus, their FBI handler.
He didn't even. There's no even degrees of separation there because he already worked in the Air Force, which is like the sussiest of all. You know, he was the FBI agent, all right, or the FBI agent was like living in his brain.
That's what when you get one implanted in you when you went and got your vaccine shot, a personal FBI agent.
That's right. It's an integrated handler program.
Integrated handler program. Exactly.
Oh man. On that note, you know what we forgot at the beginning of the episode? Go on Patreon and subscribe and give us money for this amazing content that we produce. If you want more of this hard-hitting news that you're receiving, you can go to Patreon and subscribe for like $3, the cheapest we could make it. Yeah. And all the money goes directly towards building tunnels in order to get all the food relief into Gaza. Because that's what we know they can do best. So fuck yeah, build tunnels.
One thing I want to say, I want to add about the Aaron Bushnell self-immolation. Not only do I totally disagree, obviously, with Kendal, but I think it was. I don't know if you saw this, but shortly after it happened, the official Mossad Twitter account, which for those of you that don't know is like the CIA, FBI of. No, they're more like special forces, aren't they, Mossad? No, they're like CIA, FBI.
I thought it was like a CIA thing.
Yeah, they're like a CIA, FBI type of thing for Israel.
Intelligence agency.
They tweeted a photo of him burning alive and said, "Our enemies kill themselves," in the tweet. Let's do just like a little analysis of that tweet, right? Because we're looking at a United States military officer, right, who is lit on fire, and the country that the United States is an ally with and is supplying all of their weapons and giving them all of their money is saying that's an enemy. and they're happy that he killed himself. That's big cuck energy on the United States for sure. You know?
Yeah. I mean, they're also the only country in the world that like we say we need to inspect like all of your nuclear weapons.
No,
I mean, we saw what happened to Saddam when he was even like, yeah, come look for him.
Yeah.
And they still invaded and bombed the fuck out of him. This dude is just like, no, you can't come in and inspect. And the U.S. is like, okay, all right, well, do you need more bombs? Like, no other country in the world would. I mean, does anybody not think like
that they have nukes now, though? Like, I mean, you'd have to be living.
And there's no way any other country could get away with that type of behavior, which shows that there's a deep issue with what's happening. Like,
right
there, and it should be obvious when that type of shit goes on. Like, we should look at that and as Americans be like, oh, this dude won't even let us like inspect his nuclear weapons, which is international law. Yep. And I think we're just giving him more bombs instead. Like, after he says that, we're like, yeah, here you go. Here's more money and bombs.
I think the real point here is that clearly Nick NFT is running the Mossad Twitter account.
Yes.
Well, obviously. Where do you think he got the money?
I don't know if you guys
choose rich.
I don't know if you guys know about like e-girl Israeli influencer accounts, right?
Why are you looking at my phone right now?
But the reason why you can't see Nick in a video with any bitches is because he's enlisting them in service for Israeli Ethot army. Okay, he sees a beautiful woman. That's a Ethot influencer for him.
So I chat, full disclosure, outside of being a black man, I'm also not a history buff myself either, but I did dig into this topic a little bit because when Paul's referencing here, when you read these headlines, it's so ridiculous that you kind of have to keep Googling. You got to Google through it sometimes, Chad. It's just how it goes, right? And I read like 4 articles, so clearly I'm an expert on this at this point. So here we go.
You got it.
Sounds like you're ready to do a podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So for a little bit of background right here. So Haiti is currently undergoing massive disarray is the best way I can put it. From my best estimation of the situation, the current acting Prime Minister of Haiti is supposed to be leaving his position, and there's supposed to be a transition of power there. He is currently hiding out in like Kenya because he says like, nah, man, it's not safe for me to like give up the my role and like have elections or whatever because of like all the shit that's going on back in Haiti. Currently, there's a gentleman named Barbecue. All right. And Barbecue is leading a coalition of different Haitian gangs together to stand up against the current prime minister of Haiti and also foreign intervention in Haitian affairs and basically demanding that and saying that the prime minister needs to quickly release his position so that Haiti can go on and have peaceful elections. And then once that definitely happens, his gang will definitely stop engaging in the activities that they've been engaging in, including prison breaks. They've released about believe between the two I saw, it was about a little over 5,000 prisoners that they've released between separate prisons breaks.
I like these guys.
I knew this was going to be Craig's type of thing.
Yeah. Hopefully they destroyed the prisons too.
Basically, the barbecue and his men have been facing off with Haitian police forces and military. The prime minister wants the UN to get involved and send foreign soldiers basically to come and fucking handle the situation for him pretty much.
Yeah.
Which isn't that the purpose of the international stuff is we can form coalitions and go help people.
So it seems as though that there has already been some type of agreement drawn. It looks like Kenya and a few other countries are on board to send, but that has essentially they've been kind of dragging their feet on it. So there's really been no movement, and essentially Haiti is under it seems to be a large-scale humanitarian crisis. And I understand that none of that was particularly funny, but here's what is funny. Okay. Allegedly, some of the gangs in Barbecue's militia, we'll go with that word, that have been all gotten together, have been engaging in murder and cannibalism. There's a video that exists of one of these militiamen eating the charred remains of a human being. Now, originally
then
that
why
video...
did you open with allegedly?
Well,
there's a video.
No, sorry, let me get there. So here's the alleged part, right? That video was originally presented as that was actually Barbecue in the video eating somebody, right? And that was supposed to be a recent video of Barbecue eating somebody. Now, other people have refuted the video and said not only is that not Barbecue, that video is also not recent either. That was from 2014 or some shit like that. Now, here's the thing. Right,
Kendall's gonna hate my
his
take
name
on
is
and here's the thing about this whole situation, right? Me personally, I don't give a fuck if it was 2024, 2014, 2004, but if we're ever on video eating someone, you begin to lose some of the moral credibility of whatever your cry for whatever political aims you have at this point, right? And I know what Craig is going to be like, this Barbecue guy, he seems like a nice guy. I'm kind of down with him, right? I already know where we're going with this.
I don't know.
So before he
seems kind of not chill.
So before we get down, before Craig decides to barbecue pill all of you, and now everybody's looking up to this guy because he's got a picture of him sitting in front of a mural of Che Guevara. Is that how you pronounce it?
That's good. Close enough.
Doesn't matter. That guy.
Jesus.
Right? And then he likens himself to these characters of history. All I'm going to say is that there is a well-documented history of gangs engaging in cannibalism in Haiti. And even if they aren't currently eating people, at some point they were, and that's not based.
I'm going to go ahead really quick before Craig throws his in. I'm going to say there's probably a pretty big difference between Barbecue and Che Guevara.
Probably. Look,
I think there's more differences than just eating people when it comes
and
to
I
these
do want to
two
be clear, there is no irrefutable evidence that Barbecue ate anybody, but also your name is Barbecue.
Yeah,
that's
he goes by Barbecue. I think
this is a Michael Jackson Neverland Ranch scenario if I've ever seen one.
well, this is what I was going to say.
I'm
Actually,
curious
it's
about
funny.
his politics.
It's funny that you brought that up, Kendall, because that's exactly where I was going to go. Is look, if not, we had this conversation, Kendall and I, a while ago about Michael Jackson. He did some bad things to some kids, clearly.
Maybe.
But
Allegedly.
But how many kids are you going to let that happen to for Thriller? You know what I mean?
Allegedly happened to.
Right?
I do want to say real quick, sorry to cut you off, but I did see a tweet that was about like I guess a new Michael Jackson biopic is getting made, and one of the lines on the tweet was that it was going to aggressively argue his innocence, right? And
Hell yeah.
the quote tweet I saw about there was like, what's aggressively arguing his innocence is the fact that he was like acquitted in court, whatever the fuck the situation was with that.
Sure.
And the whole time I'm reading it, I'm like, I don't know about that one, Chief.
Yeah, OJ's innocent too, my guy.
Yeah, exactly.
OJ is innocent.
Yeah, totally.
Dude,
I can see that.
Off topic, but look into the conspiracy that OJ's son actually did it.
Oh my
There's
God,
a conspiracy
Paul.
on that.
I've heard that before,
and it's insane
You know what?
because it kind of makes sense.
Sight unseen, I believe it.
Like it kind of actually makes sense
They
that
literally
he like was trying to cover for his son.
Let me give you my
Like, it's
Haitian
weird.
barbecue take. Like,
if please tell us how much you love.
If Biden was eating charred remains of people, right? But he was also invading Israel, all right, and like canceling student debt. And destroying the military-industrial complex,
kids,
right? And like doing all these great things, free college, like pulling out all of our. We have 700 and some bases across the world, just like closing all them bitches. I'd be like, all right, I guess we have like a lottery for like getting eaten by our president now.
Yeah, just try to keep it under like 1,000 a month.
So I don't know anything. I don't know, and I'm going to do it just like again, just pure vibes analysis here. But like these are some things that I know historically to be true, right? Historically, if you're a president or a prime minister of a country, especially a developing country, and there's some type of uprising, and your country is a piece of shit, and there's some type of uprising, and you flee the country and wait for an international coalition of the willing to help you get your power back instead of just like exiling yourself and disappearing, you're probably not going to be seen as one of the good guys eventually, right? Like Salvador Allende, he didn't like go into exile. He like grabbed an AK-47 and tried to get back. Like if you have a moral vest, you tend to stay with your people is what I'll say about that. So again, pure vibes. I know nothing about the situation. That dude in Kenya right now, that's the prime minister of Haiti, he might be like the most based communist revolutionary in the world, but I tend to think that he's probably just like a U.S. comprador. If he's hanging out in Kenya waiting for the U.S. to come in and help him, he's probably just a U.S. comprador.
So
and like,
he
I don't know
was
shit about gangs either.
Like,
and I don't know shit about barbecue, right? But like, if they're able to deliver better material conditions for the people of Haiti, then they got my vote. And I don't know if that's true or not. I just feel like somebody abandoning their people to wait for the U.S. to come in and invade and help. That's very rarely going to be my guy. Is what I'll say.
I'm gonna definitely disagree with you, Craig, and say I can't get over the cannibalism part. Like I can't. Like
each their own, but it tastes like chicken. Guys.
I will find a communist. I'll just find a communist who won't eat people.
That's true. Like it would be good. Like if we had unlimited options of communist leaders, that would be great, Paul. Okay, all right. But now we got one, and he eats people.
Can we just? All right,
can we take what you get sometimes?
Can we do me one favor though? Like take a step back and look at it of like if you keep asking why enough, like why did Haiti get to this situation they're in today in 2024? Like
yes.
It shouldn't have gotten to this point ever of like
I think
that
even
country has gone through so much shit, like and for anyone to expect better things to come out of it when like it just keeps getting treated the way it's treated, like
right.
What do you expect to happen? Like
one of the root causes even of this situation that's ongoing right now in Haiti, I believe, I might be misspeaking.
I mean,
here.
Look at the other side of the island.
But I believe one of the root causes is the fact that like after the Haitian Revolution, they were still strapped with paying back France for reparations for freeing themselves of like $80 billion or some nonsense.
Which is
and I
insane.
think like that is even as part of this conflict, because I believe that there's something going on with like the Haitian government trying to get out of paying that or getting paid back or requesting to be paid back for what they paid, something like that. The people agreeing with that, disagreeing with that. Again, I don't know the sides involved in all of this, but like it's a fucked situation that we caused initially. You know?
And I mean, I feel like even that, like, you can take a step back from and keep looking at it of like, why on earth is it like normal that they would be paying that money anyway? Like,
right.
Like when you think about that, of like someone came in and like takes your country over, you liberate yourself from them and you owe them money now.
Dude, there were reparations paid. There were reparations paid to slaveholders in the United States after,
but not who didn't get it though. Like,
well, that's what I'm saying.
How is this so in front of our faces?
Well, calm down. You're on the podcast,
like,
right? Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
how much longer
you already admitted you got yours by being here today.
That's fair enough,
Amongst, let me clarify, two mostly straight white guys.
God, give him an inch.
I didn't want to pull the curtain back too far.
Preferably more than an inch. No, but like even that, like it's clear in front of all of our faces if you literally just strip back their phrasing of it, of like, oh yeah, it's reparations. They, look at the money they would have lost. Like, fuck all that. Look at it from like a human perspective of like someone came, invaded their land, took them over. They get liberated from them and now owe them money. Like, and that's the normal fucking way of doing shit. And people are still seeing that in front of them and being like, either that's cool or they're like, I can't fix it. So
yeah. I'm going to have to research.
We just can't keep letting the world like operate this fucking way. If we want it to ever be better, like we can't just keep sitting and looking and being like, well, what can I do? Like, yeah. I don't know, but we got to do something. We got to do better than this shit.
I think that to touch on a few things, that one thing that Craig mentioned, the current prime minister of Haiti was originally U.S. backed. He was someone that there was. You couldn't see Craig's face. It was utter disbelief.
It was imagine a white guy being very right and very happy about it. That's all you need.
But they have. It seems to be like now the stance is, hey, bro, like you clearly fucked this way worse than we want you to. Please just give your job up and do what the people want you to do, because that's crazy. So that's currently. I think that seems to be like the other. We have three main crises, or four, I guess. That's the one going on in Haiti. Is that the other thing with the gangs outside of like. The whole eating people thing.
Another thing I was going to say about the eating people thing is that is another thing that made me think this guy was U.S. backed for sure, is because that's like CIA playbook, not to be nothing ever happens kind of guy, but CIA playbook is like paint your enemies with horrible videos. Like I can't remember which Indonesian president it was, but they tried to make a pornographic movie of him using a body double. And so like just before the election, they did
that shit with MLK too.
Well, just before the election, they released a body double pornographic video of one of the left-wing candidates in Indonesia. And what they didn't know was that like in their culture, that was based. So it was like a huge backfire. They were like, everybody was like, wow, this guy's badass. He's in porn.
Yeah, they were like, this guy fucks. Hell yeah,
this guy fucks. All right, but sorry
this guy fucks.
Cool. What other crisis with the crises you were talking about? I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying that like I think this one that has got a lot of coverage now. I don't think it's been talked about a whole lot though amidst the Ukrainian situation and the situation going on in Gaza, and the border, because obviously it's weird. I think the chat, if there's anything to take away from this little segment here of the podcast, is that don't eat anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like you can fight for the better material conditions of the people in the communities you may or may not have terrorized with your gang activity prior to this whole thing going on.
Right.
But if you are going to do that, probably refrain from either A, being a cannibal, or B, recruiting cannibals for the cause. It does kind of throw a whole wrench into the situation.
Just like it's just as one of my favorite podcasts, TrueAnon, they have like rules for TrueAnon, right? Like one of the from right to red rules. I want this to be a first rule. All right. First rule of from right to red is like, don't ever put yourself in a position where you can be accused credibly of being a cannibal. All right. That's number one. That's
right,
number
well,
one.
it's been fun being a part of the podcast. I guess I'm out.
Right? If you want to build a mass movement, a workers' party, if you want to struggle, if you want to do, a protracted people's war against the government, I'm on board. All right. Well, I mean, no, that's horrible. Don't do that.
Just don't eat people while you're doing it.
Yeah, don't put yourself in a position where you can be credibly accused of cannibalism. It's not going to do good for anybody. So
the optics, really, you got to really think about the optics with these things, guys.
Yeah. Another here's a random one I forgot I wanted to bring up. Do you think it matters, and why, Craig, with the latest joining of the North American NATO? What is it? North American something.
North American Treaty Organization, or North Atlantic
Treaty. Yeah. So Sweden joined.
Yes.
Like, what effect do you think that will have, if any?
So, I mean, it was obviously an inevitability, right? I believe that.
Well, yeah, they've been trying for a bit.
In this house, we believe that in this house, we believe that NATO is an aggressive tool of imperialism.
Pull back your authoritarianism a bit. In this house, you must believe.
Right,
okay,
right.
Dad.
Okay, so Dad. I'm generally
okay, Dad.
I'm generally against any countries joining NATO. Just like as a default position. I don't think it's going to really play out in the way that like the libs are frothing about Sweden joining, where they're like, oh, this makes NATO so much stronger, and it's a huge row on Russia. It's like it's not
just
that
Sweden,
big a deal.
bro. Like that's why I'm wondering. Like, I've seen shit about people being like, this means this. To me, I was like, okay, fucking Sweden. Like,
oh, Sweden allying with fascists. Yeah, didn't see that coming.
You mean the guys that I mostly know about because they're good at the Winter Olympics? Like, other than that, I don't hear much about Sweden.
Hot chocolate as well.
Like, I hear about that type of shit, and like mostly that they've been pretty chill and tried to avoid a lot of wars. Like in our recent history, like they're not a major player in like world economics, like in a way that they could disrupt everything. Like I'm confused as to what the big deal is, and I didn't know if maybe there's something I was missing, because I'm like, oh, that just seems like no big deal. Is it just like something being pushed as another, here's a story to look at?
The only thing to me geopolitically that it does is like if anything it deteriorates the credibility of NATO, because I don't know if you remember, but like as we were leading up to war in Ukraine, and even after Russia invaded Ukraine,
Putin tried to join.
the whole conversation was like, about eastward expansion of NATO, and it was like that was one of Russia's big things. Was like NATO was never supposed to be an enemy of Russia. It was an organization that was created almost entirely to stop communism in Europe and Asia, right? And so what are we doing here? Like, why is NATO still expanding if the whole point of it was to defeat a nation that no longer exists, like,
because Russia now isn't communist.
And Russia keeps saying
communists.
Yeah, and Russia keeps saying, like, why do we keep expanding eastward with NATO on the borders of Russia? And now there's NATO bases like all across the border of Russia. Like, how am I like just imagine if Mexico and Canada were allied and had significantly more resources, significantly more military personnel, way more advanced military in general, and they just started lining the border with military bases and doing like drills and shit. Like, if you think that you would be okay with that, you're just lying to yourself, you know. And that's
Right.
what's happening in Russia. And I'm not saying that like this is like hashing up old shit, but I'm not saying that in Russia's invasion of Ukraine was correct or a leftist position or a defensive act or anything like that. I'm just saying like Sweden joining NATO is giving credence to their argument that they should have invaded, you know. So what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
It's bad in every way. It's an antagonism. It's an antagonism that's unnecessary. I don't know. I don't see any upside for anything.
That just reminds me of like a larger scale version of tactics we've seen from the US for a long time. Like, even it reminds me of like the Cuba of like, you can sit there guns drawn surrounding someone all this time, and as soon as they're like, maybe I should get a gun too, they're like, oh shit, we better watch out, like look out for these guys. And it's like, well, any reasonable person would be like, everyone around me is pointing guns at me, I should have one too.
Yeah.
And then that's like the US's way of being like, oh, but look at them, they're pointing guns at us now. It's like, well, yeah, you've been pointing at them for years beforehand.
Yeah.
That's just them being defensive because you seem like a threat. And I feel like that's just them. They're always good at masking how much of a threat we are this whole time leading up. And then it seems like all of a sudden, oh, what are they doing out of nowhere? It's like, yeah, but you left out the part where we pretty much made them uncomfortable, scared, and threatened them for years. Like,
if world peace
could have diplomatically solved some things and at least been peaceful with Russia, I think, if they wanted to.
Right.
There's like, at least be civil. Like, I'm not saying they love each other, but there would have been ways, I think, because Putin's smart enough to know that is probably like being civil with them is the best option. Because then if he's civil with them, he knows they're not bombing them. They're not a threat.
Yep.
Like,
if world peace is your ultimate goal, not only should like no more countries be joining NATO, but I'm actually calling for a ground invasion of every NATO country.
Oh my god. No, I would say instead look at maybe other options, because NATO's not the only one.
Yeah, right, for sure.
Like, yeah, that was one that was weird though, because I didn't understand why people were making a big deal. I'm like, this just seems
just because
like,
everybody's dick riding NATO right now.
They're just throwing Sweden in as another like
NATO.
Yeah, dude, glazing.
They're
glazing
say,
NATO like they're glazing Israel.
Yeah. I have to say that has got to be that little last 7 to 10 minutes we just spent has got to be one of the most charitable interpretations of Russia's actions in world politics that I've ever heard in my life.
Damn, dude,
First of all, like, did you expect me to not like Russia?
I'm not
saying I do like Russia, but did you expect me to not?
I don't like Russia, but I can understand. I can understand where they're at. What do you give me your take?
I don't like Putin. That's my difference with you, Craig. It's not that I don't like Russia. I don't like Putin.
I just hate Russian people.
I'm gonna say, speaking from again like the normiest person in this podcast, I guess currently, right?
Yeah,
is that like a lot of this is again the issues of the optics that like it's like ultimately they are currently trying to take over another sovereign land. So like this is very like a guys, but their feelings. Like,
all right, but let's go deep though. Let's go deep.
Was that voice you just did, Kendall?
Like guys, you don't understand this. Technically, up until what happened recently, world superpower with nuclear weapons is scared. Guys, they're really scared about what's going on. So just like, let them have a couple of their countries they used to have back, and like everybody be chill, bro. It's no big deal.
All right.
Are you saying?
I mean, if we want to go deep on Ukraine, it's been a minute, but I can go. All right.
I'll be honest with you. I don't have the depth to probably go deep with you on this one. I just.
This is all I have.
What is this?
This is the Rasputin song. This is all I have left to add to the podcast. It's just I'm going to play the Rasputin song.
Look. Do you think there's
That's
ever, Kendall? I'll push back on you.
Sure.
Do you think there's ever anything that would justify invading and taking over another country's land?
It'd be hard to find a reason.
Okay. So, do you think this is just like a total dick move to say?
Yeah. Why are you suddenly doing hypotheticals with us?
I know,
Craig?
but here
What
I'm bringing it into some historical materialism. Do you think the Soviet invasion of Germany during World War II was a good thing or a bad thing? Now, I'm not saying
I should have seen
I'm
it
not
coming.
saying Ukraine is
But you also
Nazi
worded it as
Germany.
take their country.
But it sounds just like that was almost what you were trying to get out of this.
And it's not.
Because that's significant. I know a lot of people. That's the
invade
contention.
and take over are different things too.
That's the contention. Is that like Ukraine is like the real issue here is that Ukraine is just a hotbed for Nazism, and that's like Russia's gonna stomp that shit out. Like that's the take of some people.
So until you said Russia's going to
people
stomp
really
that out,
believe that
until you
still?
said Russia's going to
Like-
stomp that out, my thought was, where's the lie? All right, because Ukraine is a hotbed. I mean, like, don't take that.
I've seen it. I'm not disagreeing with the
Right.
but I
Like,
want
they
to say
are a hotbed for Nazism. Do I think that Russia invading them is going to solve that problem? Absolutely not, because I'm not a fucking retard.
I don't believe that played into why he did it either.
Right. I don't
At
even think
all.
that he cares that's why.
Like,
I think
believe mostly it was
he thought he would find
logistics.
more allies there personally. With that,
I think it was
exactly.
logistics. He's looking for ways of transportation.
My point is,
ways
though,
of making money.
my point in bringing up the Soviets versus Germany in World War II is just that, like, there are legitimate reasons, and this is a tough pill to swallow for people that are just like into straight liberalism without any like understanding of the true nature of authoritarianism. That there are justifications that sometimes make sense for having that type of reaction.
I feel like
God
that the issue though, and I know you're like, oh, I hate hypotheticals because then we just argue about the hypothetical, right? But I think that this is kind of like the point here, right? Is that Ukraine prior to this time of, what was that, 2022 or whatever this whole thing started, right? Did not have the same things going on that Nazi
Certainly not.
Germany did.
Definitely. Like I said, this wouldn't have been my move. All right.
So when we start looking for so again, I'm gonna go back to what it sounds like is, guys, but Vlad, he's so sensitive. You gotta understand.
No.
Let me put it to you this way. All right. I'm gonna give you my take that I hope you can appreciate. Is like, I think that in order to prevent Russia from invading Ukraine, a sensible diplomatic thing to do would have been, let's stop building military bases all across their border. Like, is building military bases all across their border, calling them NATO bases, is that the same as putting Jewish people and communists and gypsies in concentration camps? No, it's not the same thing. At all,
because it's the American way.
Is it still an antagonism that like we shouldn't be doing? Yes, absolutely. I think everybody can agree we shouldn't be like expanding military all across the border with Russia. And that's all I'm trying to say. Again, I don't agree with them invading Ukraine at all, right? but we have to sometimes look inward to the things that we can control a little bit, and like building military bases up along the border of a country is not a good look. It's not a good thing to do. So stop doing it. That's it.
Chad, what you really need to do is look inward and think about how the presence of NATO on the Russian border really makes Vladimir Putin feel.
Oh my God, I hate you.
Oh, gee. Why you gotta say it like that?
because of Vlad felt so not good in his tummy about it.
Yeah.
Then when we're like going to like destroy, rape, and pillage sovereign land in a different country, you gotta have to give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt in that situation.
It's not giving him the benefit of
to him.
the doubt. It's just understanding. Jesus, Kendall. Like you gotta understand. Like when you're doing it,
I understand the point.
But when you're doing it to them, like because when you're doing it to them, you're just like, yeah, how silly it is that he would feel nervous that someone might like come kill him. Right. And you're like, yeah, fucking idiot. Like, but if someone surrounded us and did that, you'd be like, shit, this fucking sucks feeling this way. Like,
you know what that sounds like, Paul?
Putin definitely sucks, but like, does that mean we should treat like his whole country this certain way and like surround them and intimidate them? Probably not. Like,
you know what that sounds like to me? A geopolitical skill issue.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, here.
That's true.
Actually, if we're gonna talk Russia, though, I want to ask some real questions that like a real reporter would do. Like, when you look in the world, do you just see like spiritual, like weird things happening, or like supernatural things? Because that's a real question asked of Putin.
Is that what Tucker asked him?
Tucker legit looked at Putin and said, do you ever just look in the world and see like supernatural forces working?
You know, let's get into the who the fuck is Tucker Carlson portion of the podcast.
He looked like this man is Vladimir Putin sitting across from him. Looks him in the eyes and asks him like,
I know you're
seen
not
a
joking.
ghost? Like it's essentially like, bro, you ever seen a ghost? Like, bro, you got Vladimir Putin there. Ask him why he's invading. But it's like you got Vladimir Putin. You can ask him some real fucking questions about what's happening, and you're like, you ever seen a ghost, dude?
You
like,
literally you think Mr. White replacement theory has the fucking stones to ask Vladimir Putin a real question?
Yeah.
And let's ask why he's only interviewing white leaders.
You've got the opportunity to interview one of the most influential people in the world right now, and you're like, bro, when your chakras are not perfectly aligned, you ever just shove a crystal up your butt?
Like, were you waiting? Were you waiting till like Jupiter was in the right house of the right constellation before you invaded?
Right. What a weird line of questioning.
It's like
from a CIA.
That should show like even what they're trying to present to you as like a now independent journalist after he leaves Fox News. That is like what they're giving you. Like this dude's like, you seen ghosts? Like, where's the real fucking questions?
Right.
Like,
Chad, just so you know, people do unironically quote things that Tucker Carlson says and treats it as like facts of life. So I want you to understand that. Back to the conversation about dealing with the stupid people in our lives, right? Like, you just got to give a little grace. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Like, you might have to cut this because I'm going to regret saying it. I already am regretting that I'm about to say it. But some people in the world will literally look at you and seriously say, Tucker Carlson is doing the Lord's work right now. And they don't mean it ironically. Like, they truly believe, like, yeah, his dad was heavily embedded in the CIA, and then he spent his life working for right-wing news media, and now he has no ties to any of that.
Yeah, no, nothing whatsoever.
Like, nothing weird's going on. He's just some random dude doing what he thinks is right. Like, I don't trust it.
Don't trust
we
it.
have those people in the world amongst us. They live amongst us every day. Stupid people are everywhere.
Yes, that's true.
And we need them too.
Our first time having a guest, so I think we should say like a proper Kendal. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah,
we appreciate your
absolutely.
perspective. It's wrong, but it is diverse. So
Yeah, because obviously the cannibals are the heroes. So
the podcast has officially reached their DEI requirements, and
so
there'll
we'll see you
never
next
be
year.
another. There will not be another black person on here for quite a while.
Thank you.
So-
thank you, Kendall. That's my thank you.
What is this? Is that
You
a
don't
horn of
recognize.
Gondor? Is that the
You
horn?
don't recognize No, these are the true horns.
I don't know what they
That's
are.
straight from the Holy Land itself.
Oh, okay.
Chat. As
Those are the
partner
shofars?
here-
The fact that you don't recognize the
shofar?
beautiful Jew horns.
Yeah.
beautiful Jew.
Oh, so I love
The
that the person
shofar.
with Jewish blood just said the beautiful Jew horns. Yeah, that's my way of thanking you.
Thank you so much, Paul.
Cheers from Israel, bud.
Cheers.
Cheers
Shalom,
from
brother.
cheers.
Now that we've had
Shalom, brother.
now
Cheers
that we've
from
had
Israel.
Kendall on, that's how we get our yearly funding from George Soros. Got to have at least one black man on the podcast per
Right
year.
from my bank account to his.
Yeah. That
So we appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much for having me, Chad. It was a pleasure. I hope to be back. We've been trying to get this coordinated for a while, so I'm glad that we finally got the time to get this done.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man. For all of you out there, please clean your keyboards. I know they're gross, and
And don't put your TV too high.
don't put your TV too high. Don't eat anyone. Please follow rule number. There's a running list of rules. We only have one. Don't be cannibal coded. I think it's really established.
Yeah, don't even be cannibal adjacent.
Yeah, don't be cannibal adjacent or cannibal
if
coded.
you can help it, yeah.
Right. That's perfect.
Yeah. Try to refrain from eating people.
Fuck our oppressors and keep up the good fight.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
with us. We know you could've stayed home, just cried and cussed mail. Your guns go off if it's time to bust mail. They tanks have time to rust. They got the armies turning bullets into gold. They got the hookers turning tricks into cold. And every time the police kicks in the dough, an angel gas breaks dips in the O. And even if a D-boy flips in my O, it ain't enough to buy shit anymore. Sleep in the doorway, piss on the floor. Look in the sky, wait for missiles to show. It's finna blow, cause they got the TV, we got the truth. They own the judges and we got the proof. We got hella people, they got helicopters, they got the bombs, and we got the